Among a million stars, we'll wish up there is ours. Maybe this time it all comes true. I was on my own until that day you came into my world, and it changed everything. Now I'm not alone, and I can see a brand new path appearing before my eyes, but I can't reach it alone. I need someone to show me the sky, and a voice on the wind tells me that maybe you could lead the way. Among a million stars, I wish out there is ours. Maybe this time it'll come true. Whatever comes our way, we'll face it unafraid and take this world on together.
Hello and welcome to day 5. Yes, day 5 of the Crystalline stream. I'm probably going to start it up a little while. Let's get into the loading screen. Looks like YouTube is a little bit lagging behind, but you know what? YouTube's just a button and a half, so blame YouTube. I've already set it to low latency. And I have also set everything to where it should be, so why there's latency, I don't know. Blame YouTube. YouTube's a butt and a half, but we still love it. And we love YouTube, because YouTube's. So let's get into day 5. Let me just finish setting up my battle station with the live chat and everything. Put the live chat down here. Wait, can I put that in? Oh my gosh, paper bag, it works. Alright. So I'm sorry I didn't stream yesterday. We've been working on a new Minecraft server, which feel free to check out the Everything Is On Fire Discord. Link is on the Incursion YouTube channel. And soon there'll be a link here under my channel, so yay. It's gonna be a RPG style, not the grenade style, the actual role-playing game with actual questing, raiding, and so much more fun than the previous one. Big thanks to everyone who's helping me with that project, and let's get into the game. So where are we? We are, I think we are We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why there's one here from like midnight. So screw that one. Let's go here. The next morning, we wake up early like usual. After getting ready and packing my things, I meet the rest of the team downstairs. Amelia's parents wait for us. Oh yeah, this is where we left off. We left off with them, visiting Spock's parents, which are actually normal people. Amelia's parents wait for us by the door as we finish gathering our things. Her mother's lip trembles as she watches us pack.
Are you sure you need to leave so soon?
42, welcome to the channel and welcome to the stream. Leanna smiles softly.
I wish we could stay longer, but we must be going. Thank you very much for your hospitality.
Of course. You're all welcome here at any time.
Amelia's mom hands us parcels.
I packed all of you some food for your journey.
Free food!
Oh, we couldn't possibly.
Shut up, Leanna! She tuts and forces the parcels into our hands.
I won't take no for an answer.
Amelia packs hers without protest and the rest of us follow suit. We turned to her family one last time before leaving.
Thank you again.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for having us.
Thanks. It was nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Farewell, Mother. Father.
Her mother squeezes each of us in one big hug. When she hugs Leanna, she pauses.
Please take care of our daughter.
I will.
After one final goodbye, we leave their house and make our way back towards the town. Yes, they are pink-haired lollies. We pass the inn and the other shops, but we don't make any stops. Eventually, we pass through the town gates. We continue down the familiar dirt path surrounded by greenery. Most of our journey is uneventful. I've become more accustomed to the walking and the silences, but I still wish the journeys to our destination weren't so long. It can get pretty boring. Just as I think that, something darts in front of me. Do we yelp? Do we catch it? Do we ignore it? Do we yelp? Do we catch it? Or do we ignore it? We catch it. B. Whoa! I lunge for whatever it is, and my hands brush against its fur as I reach for its tail. It evades my grasp and hops into a bush. The pongo wanders over to the bush and watches it curiously.
Boy.
The bush remains still. The pongo cocks his head to the side.
Boy.
Then he sticks his head into the bush. He immediately retreats as a claw swipes at him. He rushes back to me and hides behind my leg.
Boy.
He huffs. I mean, you did just go and bother it. The pongo pouts, looking betrayed.
Boy.
I shrug. So what was that thing?
It's a sabali.
Leanna seems more excited than usual to see an animal. What's that?
Basically an overgrown rodent.
Untrue. Sabali are not part of the rodent family.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go.
They're way cuter than rodents.
I didn't get a very good look at that thing when it raced by. But what is it? Because from what I saw, it looked kind of like a baby bear with long claws and a very long tail.
That's a pretty accurate description, actually.
They're very rare. Since you saw one, you're going to have good luck.
Zach looks unimpressed.
I don't see how lucky it can be if it almost tripped him up.
Well, they tend to hide from people. If one lets you spot it, then that must mean you're special.
Oh, we are very special. Very special indeed.
Such superstitions originated back when primitive societies were learning to recognize
Shut up,
dangerous
Amelia!
species from harmless ones. Because the sabali feed on insects and small rodents many would deem to be pests, they are recognized as a harmless
Amelia,
and even
shut
helpful
up. Just
animal.
shut up.
As such, many humans wish to domesticate them as pets. But the sabali are timid creatures and shy away from most other animals, especially ones which are considered threatening.
Fascinating.
Thus, the sabali were regarded as lucky due to the difficult nature of witnessing one. In reality, there is no luck involved.
I see. Kara pouts playfully at Amelia.
Aw, come on, Amy. Let them keep their superstitions.
Amelia's eyes widen.
Amy,
Sure, that's your name, right? It's what your parents called you.
it is, but
Aw, she's pouting! Look at that cute little pouty face! She's actually pouting! Amelia pauses, then seems to regain her composure.
My name is Amelia.
Does calling you Amy bother you?
Amelia seems uncertain.
I did not mean to imply that it is a bother. It is merely a surprise.
Aw, well, don't worry, Amy. It's a cute name.
Amelia fidgets as Leanna calls her Amy, but she tries to speak but for once seems flustered.
Well, it seems that
Let's leave Amy alone and move on.
Looks like we broke Spock. It sounds like the time that I broke in curses with that donation that one time, and he just couldn't speak for like a whole half hour. Good times. We stare at Zach.
What?
You called her Amy.
It's shorter than 3 syllables. Why wouldn't I call her that if she's okay with it?
Shorter than... Zach, it's shorter than 3 syllables. Amelia sighs.
well, if that is what you prefer, then I suppose you may call me as such.
Amelia grins and Kara grins and pets Amelia on the head. Oh, look at this picture. So adorable. Aww. I do have to say that the graphics and the artistry in this game is extremely good, extremely well done.
I knew you'd come around.
Amelia at first blinks in confusion. As Kara continues to head pat her, she really doesn't seem to know what to do with herself. Eventually, she just lets it happen. Although Amelia tries to act cool, the touch of pink in her cheeks gives away her true thoughts. I think she likes the nickname. Okay, so we do A, Amy is a cute name, or B, I guess her name is Amy now. What is going on with the stream? It says ultra low latency, but it's just laggy. So we go with B. Since everyone else is calling her Amy, I might as well too. Plus, as Zach said, it's shorter than the alternative.
Anyway, let's get going.
We resume our journey. For the next 3 days, we travel on foot during the day and make camp at night. Eliana continues my casting trainings, but I've made no progress. I have begun to feel discouraged, and although she tries hard to hide it, I can sense the frustration Leanna feels. Why am I having such a difficult time casting? There must be something I'm missing. Since Leanna won't give up on my trainings, I resolve to push past my disappointment and continue to focus myself. On the 4th day, we travel the entire day and set up camp in the evening. As we've done in all our past trainings, Zach, Car, and Amelia take care of the setup, while Leanna and I find an open area to train. I still dread whether it's time to train I still dread whenever it's time to train, as I haven't shown any progress. It's starting to feel like a useless chore at this point.
Ready?
I reluctantly nod.
Alright, just like we've practiced, focus on channeling through the manipulator.
As I've done so many times, I try to do exactly what Leanna says. Just like all my previous attempts, it doesn't work.
You've got this. You just have to focus.
I'm focusing. I strain with all my might, simultaneously trying to figure out what exactly I was supposed to be focusing on, and wondering if this... I'm sorry. I strain with all my might, simultaneously trying to figure out what exactly I'm supposed to be focusing on, and wondering if this is all actually bogus anyways. Leanna watches me intently, waiting for the spark of magic, which does not appear. I let go and breathe out in frustration.
Try again.
Have we considered the possibility that only humans from Terra can cast? Leanna's voice is firm.
Just try again.
With a heavy sigh, I bring up my hand again and try again. As expected, nothing happens. This is completely pointless. I lower my hand. Maybe I'm just not meant to cast. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind pushes me off my feet and knocks me to the ground. Oof! Leanna glares at me, a fierce look in her face.
Get up!
I cough as I catch my breath and push myself to my feet. Uh-oh! Is this the music that we like? I think a battle's about to start. What the hell? Leanna raises her arm again.
Deflect this!
Freeze, dodge, or deflect. Do we do freeze? What does she mean by deflect? I can't use my sword to stop a gust of wind. I end up taking another hit and sway unsteadily on my feet.
I said deflect!
I balk at the sternness in her tone. Her entire demeanor has changed from a common patient teacher to a dangerous mage knight. What's gotten into you? She ignores me and aims another shot of magic. This time I jump out of the way, but she is relentless. She lines up another shot. I don't know what you mean by deflect. Leanna sends another gust after me, which I only narrowly dodge. Before I can get my bearings, another shot of magic comes at me. And then another. Would you just? And another. Hold on! And another. My breathing is short and anger warms my blood. She's shooting off wind blasts so quickly I don't have time to think or move. Her attacks are relentless and keep knocking me down. Another gust of wind soars towards me. Leanna, stop! I take that blast, and although it's just as powerful as the other, this time I maintain my footing.
That's not deflecting!
She frowns in concentration as she ramps up another attack. Then she lets loose another gust of wind. I try to block it with my arms, but this blast is stronger than the last, and it hurls me into the air. I crash painfully on the ground, but force down the pain and get back onto my feet. My breathing is ragged and my body is sore. Leanna is already channeling another attack. I don't know what's gotten into her, but I can't keep taking these hits. As she launches another attack, the anger bubbles inside me and boils over. I throw up my hand and feel the anger shoot down my arm and out of my glowing manipulator in a gust of wind, which knocks the blast away. Leanna grasps and drops her attack.
You did it!
I stare at my arm, too bewildered to even comprehend what is happening. Suddenly, Leanna is laughing loudly. As things calm down, I notice the rest of the group is already here. They must have heard the commotion.
He casted?
Leanna grins broadly.
He did! He finally cast!
That's amazing!
That wind magic, it came from me. The realism slowly dawns on me. I casted that. Wait a second! Hold up! He doesn't have wind, he has fire. He got his fire from the fire temple. How the fuck does he have wind? My eyes grow wide and I split into a huge grin. Yes, I can't believe I did it! Leanna's grinning from ear to ear. It's a wind crystal. But hey, caps lock! Leanna grinning from ear to ear. Even Zach has a small smile and nods. Amelia watches us curiously.
I assume you used the technique which we had previously discussed.
You're on caps lock, you fool! I assume you used... Yeah, the latency is longer than usual, but if I'm looking at my setup settings, it is on ultra low latency. Added delay none, no closed captions, enabled DVR, and if I'm under my settings, stream output video is no delay. Maybe this I don't know. Welcome to YouTube. I think YouTube's just being bloody stupid today. Wait, what? Leanna looks sheepish and refuses to make eye contact. What technique? The high from my casting begins to wear off, and I remember the mix of anger and confusion I felt from the attacks. You mean you guys thought it would be a good idea to randomly just start attacking me? Leanna shakes her head, looking a mixture of worried and guilty. Amelia calmly responds.
Indeed.
I didn't expect her to so bluntly agree. Why?
You were making no progress on your training, and I believed a new strategy was necessary. One such method is to utilize the ingrained need for survival. When placed in high stress, dangerous situations, the human body will use all its resources to ensure survival. By putting you in such a situation, your response to protect yourself enabled you to tap into the manipulator and channel energy.
I consider what Amelia said. Everything happened so fast, but once I realized there was no way to talk my way out of Leanna's attacks, I knew there was only one way out.
I'm really sorry. Amelia felt this was the best way for you to learn since you didn't seem to be getting it my way.
She trails off.
I hope I wasn't too hard on you.
Okay, so do we go with A? Okay, I get it. B, please be gentle next time, or C, it was effective. While not ideal, I can understand why she did it, what she did. And I won't blame her for it. After all, it did work. It's okay, I understand you were just trying to help me. Leanna nods.
Thanks for understanding. I'm really glad it worked. I would have felt even worse if it didn't.
So what now? Should I try it again?
Are you feeling up to it? If you need to take a break, we can do that.
I think I should be okay. As the words leave my mouth, my arm stings and I feel a wet spot at my elbow. When I look down, I notice blood on my shirt. Leanna gasps.
You're bleeding.
I twist my arm, trying to see the damage. You don't say!
Hold on, I brought bandages.
It's really no big deal. She races back to camp and grabs a roll of gauze from her pack. When she returns, she kneels beside me and reaches for my arm. I move my arm out of her grasp. I'm okay, really, this is just a scratch. Based on the level of bleeding, I can tell it's a bit more than a scratch. So can Leanna. She shakes her head.
It's my fault you got hurt.
Yes, and you should take responsibility for getting me hurt. Not just give me a bandage, take responsibility! Like a proper girl does. Without taking no for an answer, she grabs my arm and takes a look. This time, I don't bother resisting. Gently, she dabs at the blood with the damp cloth. I try not to wince from the sting.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be gentle.
You're fine. Her hands are warm and delicate, and for a moment I forget what she's doing and I can only feel her touch. Her gentle fingers deftly wrap the gauze around my arm. After she secures it, she lets her hands fall back in her lap. I feel a split second of disappointment as I let my own arm fall beside me.
There, good as new.
Okay, do we do A? You didn't have to do that. B, kiss it better, please. Or C, thanks. Personally, I would like to go with B. Kiss it better, please. But since, you know, you guys are controlling the storyline, which one do we go with? We did. Ah. We going with C? Just thanks. Exactly. It would be bad. Exactly. That's why we would do it, right? No, maybe. You gotta be a sarcastic guy sometimes. But sure. But just do thanks. I move my arm back and forth experimentally. The gauze holds pretty well. Thanks. She smiles warmly.
No problem.
I get to my feet and we return to camp. After we've all had the chance to eat and relax, we get ready for bed. For once, as soon as I lay down my head, exhaustion overtakes me and I fall right to sleep. Dun, 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 dun. We wake up the next morning and continue our travels. After my last burst of magic, I tried to replicate the feeling of casting. Although I'm finally seeing improvement, I still can't cast as well as I hope. The result of my casting is just a weak tendril of magic. But at least it's something. Leanna's spirits have been lifted too, and she continues my training with renewed enthusiasm. A couple of days pass before the trees become denser as we reach the woods. We must be on the right track. Sorry guys, I'm just making a posting onto the Discord, making sure that people know that I'm streaming. Because people are stupid and they don't read things. So unless you tell them like 8 billion times, they won't get it. We must be on the right track. At first, the walk is easy as the tree lines form a well-worn path. But the deeper into the forest we traverse, the more careful we become of our steps as the wild undergrowth tangles our legs. The pongo wobbles unsteadily over the roots and debris on the ground, then hops onto my shoulder.
Boy, boy.
The canopy. Fear the Raven! How are we doing today, Ethan? Canopy overhead thickens, blocking out most of the sunlight. Leanna glances uneasily around her. Noticing Leanna, Zack glances around too and becomes grave.
I think we stumbled into the Forest of Grieving.
The Forest of Grieving. Leanna balks.
Grieving?
The Pongo looks concerned.
Boy, boy?
Zack nods. Kara looks curiously at Zack and then watches Leanna gaze suspiciously around her. She seems to put the two and two together and grins mischievously.
Isn't that the one with all the trapped souls?
Leanna's eyes widen and her voice trembles.
Trapped souls?
So do we go with A? Is every forest in this place haunted? Do we go with B? Go along with the teasing. C? Call him out on the teasing. Or D? Spook her. Ah, come on, we gotta have some fun. Fine, A it is. My eyes widen. This forest is haunted too? Why is every forest haunted? Zack and Kara share a glance and hide a smile. What? What is it?
Do you want to know why they're trapped?
Ah, too late! We already picked A. Yeah. Leanna vigorously shakes her head.
Nope, I do not want to know. In fact, none of us want to know.
Amelia puts her hands on her hips.
Evidently, Zack, you were misinformed as there is no such place as the Forest of Grieving.
Oh, called out by Spock.
No, there definitely is a forest of grieving. Right, Kara?
Absolutely.
If that is true, it is certainly not here.
Leanna pouts, her face bright red.
You guys are the worst.
She rushes closer to Amelia and pointedly ignores Zack and Kara, who pretend to hide their amusement. The Pongo shoots the two of them dirty looks.
Poi. That's right, Pongo.
She scoops him up into her arms and hugs him into her chest. The Pongo doesn't protest. We continue to walk in silence. As we venture further within the forest, the air feels thick and heavy. The canopy thins out, but the trees themselves have knotted and thick bark, making them seem very old. They brighten with an ethereal blue-green luminescence. Does anyone else feel that? The Pongo squirms in Leanna's grasp and hops out before exploring the forest.
This place is loaded with magical energy.
Is that why it's glowing?
The natural formation of crystals is what gives it its coloration.
Yeah, that's basically it, 42. I also think that it could also be us and Lolly Girl, and then I've never seen the other. For science, yes. Amelia and Pongo for science. Well, maybe not. She is a Vulcan, so maybe we're not in their 7th year for Ponfar. You know? Maybe she just does it once every 7 years and we're on like the 3rd year, so she's just not in the mood. I take my time admiring the natural beauty of the place. It feels like a scene from a fairy tale. Peeking out behind a tree is a small pink Pongo. My Pongo hops over to her, and when she realizes she's been spotted, she hops into the view and tilts her head curiously.
Boy?
The pink Pongo looks over at Leanna and gives her a wide grin. Leanna grasps as it hops closer to her.
How cute!
She reaches out towards the pink Pongo, which hops into her arms.
Aw, she likes me!
Leanna squeals excitedly and hugs her close. Another Pongo peeks up from behind a bush and hops over to Leanna. Her grin grows even wider. She opens her arm and the Pongo hops in, much to Leanna's delight.
Another Pongo! Boy! What?
Even more Pongos pop up from behind the trees and bushes and begin to surround Leanna, who watches them with joy.
So many Pongos!
She reaches out and all of them, and they each openly receive her affection.
Boy?
The chorus of poise increase as even more emerge, and soon even Leanna is overwhelmed by the sheer number of Pongos. Zack stands as close to the edge of his trees as possible, and as far away from the Pongos as possible. His hands hover protectively over his dischargers as he eyes the Pongos suspiciously. Amelia moves from Pongo to Pongo, seemingly studying the variations. Kara joins in and plays with the Pongos closest to her. Even more pongos filter out into the clearing. Leanna's eyes fill with tears.
Too many pongos!
Oh no, Leanna, are you okay? Her smile is still as wide as ever. She kneels on the ground, holding as many pongos as she can in her arms, but the tears continue to flow. She speaks between the sobs.
I can't hug them all!
Oh boy, oh god damn it. Kara comes over and pulls a comforting arm around her.
It's okay. Just hug as many as you can.
Leanna sniffles and nods. My pongo looks up at me with a wondering gaze. Should we do A, stay by my pongo? B, join in on the fun? Or C, ugh, too many pongos? Look at all these new friends! I scoop up the nearest pongo and it poise happily. My pongo pouts.
Boy.
Come on, don't be jealous. He huffs as he looks away.
Boy.
From among the pongos emerges a pongo larger than the others. He has a twist of leaves which he wears around his head, and he passes all the other pongos, seems to settle down, and as he passes, all the other pongos seem to settle down in reverence. He pauses in front of Leanna.
Boy.
Leanna blinks.
Boy.
That was a long string of poise. We come in peace? We come in poise? Or let Leanna do the talking? I step in front of Leanna and addresses the pongo. Don't worry, we come in poise. Everyone stares at me while Zach face palms and shakes his head. The pongo just looks at me curiously.
Boy.
I don't think he understood me. My pongo steps up to the larger pongo and speaks in a series of poise.
Boy.
The larger pongo seems surprised, then nods.
Boy.
He turns around and hops deeper into the forest. My pongo faces us.
Boy.
He tilts his head to indicate the forest, then follows the larger pongo. Should we follow them? Zach shrugs, but Leanna nods.
Yeah, I think we should. At the very least, we can't leave him.
What if he's leading us to danger?
It would seem that the other pongos respect the larger pongo. He may be the equivalent of a king or other authority figure. If he wished us harm, we would already know.
Besides, the most harm a pongo can do is cuddle us.
We better get a move on before we lose them. We follow the pongos further into the forest. Some of the other pongos tag along, popping in and out of the trees. I've never seen so many pongos in one place before. What are they all doing here? Eventually, we stop in front of a crumbling stone structure.
Boy.
The pongo leader nods.
Boy. Boy.
It would seem the pongos have escorted us to the temple we seek.
How did they... No, can they understand you? Can they understand us?
More than likely, our pongo friend inquired as to the reason for the migration of so many pongos in one area. He must have been curious about their source of energy, which just happens to be the Earth Temple.
I narrow my eyes at Amelia. That this seems very coincidental. Do you speak Pongo?
No, but that rationale should be common sense.
Zack snorts, then tries to cover it up. I look back at the temple. It clearly hasn't been touched in a long time, and half of it is falling apart. Is it safe to go in there? Kara seems excited.
Only one way to find out.
She marches towards the temple.
But what about the Pongos? Won't they be upset?
Especially considering we intend to absorb the energy.
The temples were built over areas of naturally high concentrations of energy, so the temples continuously amass energy at an accelerated rate. Therefore, the amount which we will absorb will be replenished fast enough to not adversely affect the Pongo's ecosystem.
I get a headache just from listening to her. Why don't people live near these pockets of continuous energy?
The only energy we are able to manipulate is extracted from crystals. This form of energy, which resides in the air, cannot be manipulated or absorbed by humans.
She pauses.
Humans of Terra, that is. In contrast, Pongos are able to absorb all forms of energy, including airborne.
I see. Either way, it sounds like the Pongos will be okay. Leanna nods, and we follow Kara. The Pongos make no move to stop us, but continue to watch us curiously.
Come on!
We approach the temple's entrance. The temple structure, at least what remains of it, reminds me of the one from the fire temple. It's built with an open front, and I can see where the altars may have stood in the past. Now it's just weathered stone. The columns are still holding up, but I watch them precariously, untrusting of their stability. Vibrant green moss camouflages the gray stones. I have to admit, the view is quite impressive. Kara takes the lead and steps carefully on the stones, obviously testing for traps. The rest of us hang back and let her explore without distraction. Leanna holds onto the Pongo, who seems eager to explore with Kara. After circling through the temple, she returns to us perplexed.
Based on the design of the fire temple, I figured the earth temple would have more traps. Or even just one trap, but I found 0.
Then we should definitely stay on our guard.
Are you doubting my abilities?
No! I just meant...
Kara giggles.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Zack grumbles and crosses his arms. Amelia steps up to the temple and starts to have a careful look around the rest of us slowly filter into. The Pongo hops out of Leanna's arms and bounces excitedly into the temple. Amy fidgets with her manipulator, much to the curiosity of Leanna.
What are you checking?
I am searching for any anomalies in these magical readings. The barrier from the last temple resonated a unique signature. If such a thing were to exist here as well, it is highly likely to lead us to the Earth Elemental.
Kara shakes her head in wonder.
I still can't believe the elementals are real.
I wouldn't jump so fast to that conclusion.
Seriously? Did you forget about our journey to the fire temple?
I didn't. But I don't remember me or the rest of you seeing the fire elemental. Except him.
Zack gives me a pointed look.
He wouldn't have a reason to lie about it.
Exposure to large quantities of magical energy can potentially cause hallucinations. There have been documented cases of such events transpiring.
She's how I absorb energy. I'm not from here, anything is possible, or meh. She wasn't a hallucination. She was definitely real. Doesn't her transferring energy to me count as proof?
Your absorption of magic and the existence of elementals is not a casual relation.
I thought you'd be the most likely to believe me.
I do give credence to your anecdote in which you believe to have seen the fire elemental. However, more evidence is required to turn that anecdote into a fact.
Ethan, what's the storyline before this? Well, I got an easy answer for you. Watch episodes 1 through 4. You can find them on my YouTube channel. She continues to attentively monitor her manipulator.
There appears to be a strange pattern regarding energy distribution.
And Ethan, when you watch the episodes, make sure to like them all, because you know I like it when people like my things. There seems to be a strange pattern regarding energy distribution. A sudden rumble from above rocks breaks our attention. The rocks shift precariously, then come crashing down above me.
Look out!
Leanna tackles us both out of the way just as a rock smashes down, leaving a heavy split in the stones on the ground. I land hard, and my body erupts in aches.
Are you okay?
Leanna props herself up on top of me and peers down with a worried look.
Sorry. I channeled my wind energy into reaching you in time, and I didn't even think about softening the landing.
I stare at her. You just saved my life and you're apologizing over something like that? Leanna looks a little surprised, but then she lets out a smile. Are you okay?
Yeah, thankfully the brunt of my fall was broken by...
Her voice trails off and her cheeks redden. When she realizes she's straddling me, she quickly picks herself up. Oh, I guess she felt the fire, nation. I didn't actually mind us being like that. I went as carefully pushed myself up to my feet. Leanna's attention is on the mountain of rocks sectioning us off from the rest of the team.
Hey, can you guys hear us?
Kara's voice is muted from the other side of the rock wall. We're fine, what happened?
The structure collapsed from the instability of the ruins. I would advise caution moving forward.
The Pongo's voice is very small. Pongo!
Don't worry, he's safe here with us.
Speaking of moving, how are we gonna get these stones moved?
Stand to the side. I'll move them with my magic.
Leanna motions me to move back and I comply. Her gauntlet flickers to life as she channels her wind energy. At first, the rocks refuse to bulge, but Leanna keeps trying. Sweat beads on her face as she concentrates, but even after a few more attempts, she's unable to move any of the rocks that break the wall.
I can't seem to move any of the stones.
The frustration is evident in her voice. It's weird that she can't move any of the stones at all. I hear some shuffling on her. On the other hand, I assume it's Amy using her manipulator to scan.
Interesting. It appears these are no ordinary stones. They are shielded with magic.
What does that mean?
The magic they are shielded with are dampening any other outside magical efforts.
But we're inside.
That's not good.
However, in light of this new information, I am able to adjust the type of reading necessary to override the wall's magic block. By doing so, I am able to plot out the navigation of this temple as the ruins emit energy. Based on our current locale, our paths will converge in a short time if we move further in.
That sounds like a plan to me, and don't even think you understood what she said.
Let's get going then.
Leanna and I look at each other and nod. We start heading in the direction Amy provided. We stick close together and keep a cautious eye out on our surroundings. Leanna periodically checks her manipulator. Looking for something?
I'm following Amy's energy signature to make sure we're both going in the same direction. So far, we're still on the right path, and should be converging with them soon enough.
That's good. I put my hands behind my head. Hey, I forgot to thank you earlier for saving me. Thanks. Leanna smiles.
You did the same for me.
Huh?
Raven Pass, remember? When we fought the treasurer.
Oh, that. I guess so, but I only pushed you out of the way back then. In hindsight, I probably should have dived out of the way too, instead of, eating the blast full force.
Moving out of the way would have been a better idea, but it was heroic nonetheless.
Leanna smirks.
Besides, you find yourself in trouble so often that saving you has kind of become second nature.
Oh, fuck you too. Fuck you. Finding myself in trouble so often that saving has become a second nature. Fuck you. That's it. We're going for pink-haired girl. Fuck Leanna and her smartassness. Wow, rude. Leanna giggles. She seems to be in better spirits as we continue traveling. We turn a corner and find ourselves in a slightly open area. I notice a bit of movement from the corner of my eyes, and when I look over, all I see is our same mossy vines that were covering the entrance of the temple too. That's strange.
The energy reading here is higher than usual.
What's up? Leanna grows to draw her sword.
It's not dormant like everywhere else. I'm scanning active energy here.
Before I can react, vines shoot up from the stones in the ruins and converge straight towards Leanna. She grasps and attempts to swing at the incoming vines, but there are too many of them. As they entangle her limbs, she loosens the grip on her sword and it clatters to the ground.
What is this?
And here we have our tentacles, ladies and gentlemen. It's not an anime without tentacles. For some reason, the vines only target Leanna and have kept the berth around me. Maybe the trap was only sensitive to energy manipulation. Thankfully, I wasn't casting. Leanna struggles to break free as the vines lift her off the ground.
Help me down!
I pull out my sword, but the vines twist and tangle around each other, which makes Leanna a moving target too. The last thing I want to do is accidentally cut her as I'm trying to cut the vines. It must be best that I wait, right? Should we help free her? Or should we get revenge? And hold on, let's see where this goes. We got A's, so we help free her. I dash forward and with skillful precision, slice down the vines. As my sword cuts through the vines, they writhe and shrink away from Leanna until she's able to wiggle free. No revenge on her? Fine. Damn it, no revenge on her. Unfortunately, more vines emerge and I head straight for me. I cut them as they approach, but there are too many of them and I struggle to keep up. Just as the vines are about to encircle me, I spot a familiar grove of blade carved through trails of light through the vines. Leanna is a blur as she methodically slices the vines with an accuracy and speed I strive to mimic. Before long, all the vines lay in motionless pieces on the ground. Well then.
This never happened. Got it?
She glares at me despite her burning cheeks. Yes, ma'am.
Let's hurry up and get going then.
She didn't get twisted up in tentacles. Well, she did. And now she's embarrassed because of it. Leanna doesn't wait for me as she continues down the path. I jog to catch up to her. Leanna is extra cautious and keeps her blade at the ready as we continue down the path. Thankfully, without further incident, we spot the rest of the group waiting for us on our converging path.
You guys made it!
The Pongo bounces over to me and leaps into my arms. Hey, buddy. Kara beams and waves us over. She blinks when she gets a better look at us.
Whoa, did something happen?
Lena clears her throat as subtle pink tingles her cheeks.
Nothing at all. Isn't that right?
She shoots me a warning glare. Right, nothing. Kara looks back and forth between us and then grins.
Oh, I get it. I mean, you two were alone after all.
Leanna's cheeks flare.
No, it's not what you're thinking.
Kara winks.
Right. Nothing happened.
Leanna mumbles something incoherent as she pushes past Kara.
What is with everyone's overly active imaginations today?
The group looks at me for answers. Yeah, nothing happened. Let's get going.
I concur. It would be advisable not to spend any more time than necessary here.
All right, let's go.
Point.
Don't worry about it. The Pongo shrugs as she hops into my head. Onto my head. Ack! With Leanna leading the way, we continue moving forward. We continue down the path of the Earth Temple. Okay, we finally make it to the core of the temple. The center of the temple is a lot different than the rest of the place. For one, it's not crumbling apart. Birds flitter across the sky, and there is a lush greenery all around. Sitting in the middle of the garden is a beautiful woman. Elfish princess! Her dress is the same green as the plants, and there's something about her that feels warm, inviting, and alive. The sounds and voices of my friends fade away as I'm filled with the tranquility and beauty of nature surrounding me. She raises her hand and I feel her touch. I feel a sense of calm and peace, just like at the fire temple. I feel the revitalization effect of the energy absorption. The more energy I absorb, the more translucent the elemental becomes, until, with a small smile, she disappears. Slowly, the scenic nature view fades from the senses, and I'm pulled back to the crumbling ruins of the temple and the curious faces of my friends. Amy and Leanna hover me as the Pongo looks up at me from the ground.
Boy?
His pupil dilation is returning to normal.
Are you feeling okay? You completely zoned out there.
I nod. I still feel dazed as the remnants of tranquility begin to fade.
Did you see the Earth Elemental?
I did. This time, though, it felt different. When the energy was channeling into me at the fire temple, I felt a rush of passion and strength. This time, I felt more a sense of peace and calmness.
I can confirm you did absorb a substantial quantity of energy. However, your mention of feeling emotions based on absorbing differing elemental energy is quite fascinating.
Fascinating, she says. It's quite fascinating, she says. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Mr. Solo, it's fascinating. Shut up. God damn it, you give me a headache. You pink girl, you pink pain in the fucking ass, Amelia.
It is something which has never been reported before, given that humans of Terra cannot absorb energy. Once your senses have fully returned to normal, I would appreciate discussing in greater detail what exactly you experienced during the actual absorption of energy.
Sure, we can talk about it later. Where is Zek and Kara? As of cue, the two of them appear, each holding bags filled with what I would assume is whatever loot could be found.
Don't mind us. We just went on a little all-you-can-grab treasure buffet.
Oh, Star Trek Discovery was unique, to say the least. She grins and opens her pouch to hand something to Amy.
Here, I found this.
She hands Amelia an ancient tome.
I figured you might be interested in this sort of thing.
Amy carefully turns the pages of the book with great interest.
This is written in ancient Gaian script, a language of which I have studied, but of which I am not fluent.
She smiles at Kara. Looks like that, yeah.
Thank you.
Kara pats her on the head.
You're most welcome.
A rumble above interrupts us. We all go tense and go on high alert, but no rock slide occurs this time.
It looks like we got everything we need from here. Let's head out before another cave-in blocks our exit.
We all agree and, still on high alert, make our way out of the temple as quickly as we can. We make it out of the temple and back into the forest. The sunlight shimmers through the trees, making me wince and blink. Leanna lets out a deep, relieved breath.
We made it.
Now that we have successfully made it through the temple, let us not forget our purpose for coming here.
We look at Amelia with curiosity. She gestures to me.
His energy reading has increased substantially. Perhaps it is now possible for him to open a temporal rift.
You want to try that now? A grin spreads across Amelia's face.
Indeed.
This place is pretty barren. I suppose we could try it here. Kara blinks.
Oh, you're doing that again.
She scuffles away, and away, and away, until she's behind a tree.
Keeping watch again?
You know it.
Zach creates a bit of distance too, but not as much as Kara. Leanna and Amelia look at me.
Are you ready?
Kara's voice is far away.
Wait!
She races back, scoops up the Pongo, who gives a little squeak in protest, then sprints back to her tree. Finally, she gives a thumbs up.
Okay, good to go.
Alright, let's try it. Just do what you did last time, except now you can focus and channel your energy.
Amelia, who is standing beside her, nods. I close my eyes and try to focus on creating a rift. I bring up in my mind the images of what I saw when I first entered Terra. I inhale and exhale slowly as I try to draw in that peace I felt when I met the Earth Elemental. I remember the scent of wildflowers, the fluttering of birds, and the creaking of trees. It fills me with a soft, gentle calm that spreads throughout the rest of my body. An odd, tranquil stillness fills my mind.
Keep going. Visualize your cast.
My brows furrow. I see a dark shape peeling away at the sky. And suddenly, a hot surge of energy flashes down my arm. There's a loud crack followed by a hiss. I open my eyes. A churning wind pours out of my manipulator and swirls around the dirt and grass. The trees groan and sway. I try to keep the wind stable, but it's too strong. The muscles in my arms strain with effort. The wind whips about Leanna's hair and clothes. My cast is more powerful than before, but still unrefined.
You are nervous and panicking. Ease your mind and calm yourself.
Right, don't panic. Don't panic. My heart lurches. Anxiety coils in my stomach.
You may stop now.
I do as she says. The wind snarls and then smooths to a gentle breeze. The last bit of it skims through the grass and then vanishes, quick as a butterfly flutter. My arms dangle at my sides. I feel as if they're being pulled down by heavy weights. I take in deep breaths, my heart still pounding. I cringe and look up at the two. How did I do? Leanna hesitates.
That was...
A failure.
Amelia!
Amy blinks in surprise.
Is that not what you're going to say? He was unable to create the rift.
Leanna sighs and crosses her arms.
He did better than his first try. He actually cast something this time.
Amelia blinks again.
I see. I suppose there was some improvement.
She taps her chin in thought.
I believe your magic training should involve bettering your accuracy and honing your focus. At this point, we are still unsure if the inability to create the rift is from your lack of energy or technique.
Right. I puff out a defeated sigh. It seems I still have a long way to go.
Hey, where did Zach go?
Huh? I look up. Zach isn't anywhere in sight. That's weird. I glance around. Deep in the forest, I see a rustle of something black. I squint. Maybe it's Zach's trench coat. I zero in to see Zach and Car peeking behind the same tree. Hey, when did you get all the way back there? Zach's voice is faint.
You couldn't control it. No way was I gonna stand there if you went splat. This coat is not easy to clean.
My jaw gives a little tweak. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Car grins and claps her hands. She shouts for us to hear her.
You put on quite the show. Glad I wasn't there for it, though.
Leanna frowns.
Okay, it's done now. Can you guys come back?
Kara skips over. Zach follows with his arms crossed.
So, where to next?
According to Elderism's notes, Ellendale is the closest city located to where the ancient people worshipped the air elemental. I believe we will be able to uncover more information from the library there.
So looks like we're going to the air elemental place thingy. The air temple. Yeah. Zach smiles and ruffles Amy's hair.
Sounds great, Amy.
Amy flushes. She coughs, then glances away.
Let us be on our way.
We hike out of the forest and find a new path. Amy leads us north and we begin traveling on foot for the rest of the day. I try to stream every day at around 5:30-ish. The only reason why today was running late was because I had some things to do in real life. But I normally stream for about 2 hours a night. So, yeah. My legs ache, and by the time the sun starts to disappear, I'm ready to collapse. Maybe I'm still feeling the effects from trying to cast earlier, but all of this walking is making me even more exhausted than usual. We keep walking until we find a good campsite. Leanna says the large open space will be a good place for me to practice my wind magic in the morning. Amelia sparks a small campfire for us. Zach cooks up another delicious dinner, and by the time I'm done, I can barely keep my eyes open. The rest of the group is still up and talking, but as soon as I lay my head down, I tumble into a deep and fast sleep. The next day, Leanna and I get up bright and early. We decide to practice sparring before the others wake up. Our swords clash with a score of heavy blows. Leanna forces me backwards with a huge grin on her face. I'm breathing hard and struggling to keep up as my brows knit in concentration. Leanna sweeps my blade aside and comes back around, but I swing in time to deflect it. Her face brightens and she seems pleasantly surprised.
Wow, that's great! You're getting much better.
Really? Leanna's grin turns devilish.
Hi-ya!
She lunges and I let out a sharp cry, barely raising my sword in time. Her movement's quicker as she strikes harder. I struggled to keep up, but I managed to hold my own. Ultimately, Leanna's final move knocks me to the ground. I groan, blinking up at the sky. It's hard to breathe with the wind knocked out of me. Are our spars always gonna end like this? Leanna's face appears over mine. She smiles brightly.
That was so much better.
I lost yet again, though.
This time. But you're getting stronger and stronger every time.
That cheers me up a little. Leanna extends her hand to help me up.
Let's switch gears. You've been doing really well with sparring, so we should practice your magic training. You need to learn to refine your cast.
I know, she's right, so I nod. I'm feeling more confident about it now that I know I can cast. I think back on the countless previous training sessions and the frustrations that came with it. Even though I know I still have much to learn before I reach anywhere near Leanna's level, I'm just glad to be past these early stages.
Alright, practice channeling your energy through your manipulator. And this time, keep your focus on where you want to cast.
Skirts and updrafts go perfectly together! Focus on a rock or float the pongo! I vote A. I vote A because skirts and updrafts do go perfectly together. Ethan agrees with me. An idea pops into my head. I smirk before closing my eyes.
Good. Keep focusing.
A tingling wave of energy flows out of my manipulator. My eyes fly open and I aim for Leanna. The energy springing out of my fingertips. A gust of wind swooshes up her skirt. Leanna squeaks and shoves her skirt back down, her face bright red.
Hey! What do you think you're doing?
What? I was trying to levitate the... I glance around for a suitable object. The grass! Levitate the grass. Leanna arches an eyebrow and crosses her arms, clearly unconvinced.
Try again. Actually aim for the rock this time, since you clearly have some level of accuracy over your casts.
Oops, I guess she knew I was lying. Leanna looks around and points at a large rock.
Try again on this rock.
I take a deep breath, clearing my mind, and cast again. As usual, a solid gust of wind bursts forth, and I steadily float the rock in the air. Leanna claps her hands together, a wide grin on her face.
Yes, that's it.
Hey, I'm doing it!
Huh?
The pongo glances at the floating rock curiously.
Hi.
In one motion, he jumps right onto the rock. The movement startles me, and the rock jolts in midair. The pongo wobbles precariously, and I can feel the nerves set in again as I fight to steady the rock.
It's okay. Don't panic. Just keep your focus. Try to float them towards you.
Alright, it's just heavier now, so I adjust my energy output. I breathe in and out and refocus. The rock stops swaying.
Good. Keep going.
A strong breeze whips around the pongo, keeping him in place. I close my eyes and picture him floating forward.
You got this.
I open my eyes. The rock with the pongo floats closer and closer. A huge grin blooms across my face. It's working! The pongo jumps from the rock onto my head. As soon as the pongo touches me, I lose my concentration and drop the rock. Leanna giggles.
Great job.
The pongo wiggles on top of my head. Thanks for being a good sport. Leanna giggles as I pat the pongo.
I think that's enough training for today. You've made great progress.
Thanks. I can feel the fatigue start to set in, and I'm grateful to Leanna for ending the session.
Let's go rejoin the group.
Yeah, they should be all awake by now, I think. Leanna nods and the three of us return to camp. As predicted, everyone else is awake and even have breakfast prepared. After we eat and clean up camp, we resume our dirt journey. After a couple of days' travel, we continue to journey down the path when I notice thick clouds darken the sky. Kara and Leanna cast worried glances above as a loud crack of thunder rolls above.
This does not look promising.
We should find shelter. We don't want to be caught in this storm.
Amelia cross-references where we are with Elder Isam's notes.
We are still quite a ways from Ellendale.
Then we'd better stop at the next city we see.
I think I have an idea of where we are. If I recall correctly, Wolfston should only be a few hours' travel. We can stop there.
Once agreed, we pick up the pace to combat the strengthening wind whipping at us and make course for Wolfston. Eventually we see the tall towers of Wolfston. We shuffle through the city gates, casting worried glances at the ominous sky. The turbulent clouds don't look any less threatening. People keep their heads down as they push past each other into the streets. They must be looking for shelter from the storm. I look at the surrounding buildings. Most are storefronts which blend into each other as if trying to stay as inconspicuous as possible. As we travel deeper into the town, a few opulent buildings loom in the sky. I guess that's where the better half lives. Leanna shifts uncomfortably.
Is it just me, or are people staring at us?
Looking around, I notice all the furtive glances towards Leanna as people give us a wide berth in passing.
No, they're staring at you.
Zach's comment seems to make her even more anxious. A, try to keep her hidden. B, who wouldn't stare. Or C, she should just ignore them. B. And who can blame him? I cast her an appreciative once-over. Leanna frowns and crosses her arms. That didn't seem to help ease her nerves. I might have made her even more uncomfortable.
When you remember what kind of town Wolfston is, it's no surprise everyone is staring at her.
I give Kara a questioning look. And what sort of town is this?
Let's just say that what happens in Wolfston stays in Wolfston.
Leanna covers the sigil of her manipulator with one hand.
Maybe this isn't the best place for me to be advertising that I'm a part of the Mage Guild.
Zach nods.
Agreed. You're making them nervous.
The stairs remind me of when I first arrived in Meadowhell. Should we find you a change of clothes to blend in more?
That is a satisfactory suggestion, but perhaps it should be executed without the presence of Leanna. The longer she is in the streets, the more attention she draws.
Good point. Let's hurry up and find the inn. Leanna can stay there, and I'll help her find a more suitable outfit.
Kara's gonna find an outfit for Leanna. We can definitely see where this is gonna go. As the wind picks up, more people creep out of the shadowed alleyways as they seek shelter. I instinctively check my pockets. Something about this place has me on edge. Leanna is equally anxious, while Amy's expression doesn't change. She does seem more alert than usual. Only Zach and Kara seem unaffected. Before long, we reach the inn. Wow, we're actually at a different inn for once. I let out a relieved breath as the fire crackling in the hearth warms us. Kara and Zach go to secure us rooms and food as the rest of us sit down in a secluded back corner. Although the lobby is full of people, it's more quiet than the other inns we frequent. Most patrons drink alone, and those in groups murmur softly, trying not to draw attention to themselves. We aroused a few curious glances when we walked in, but once we shuffled out of sight, people relaxed and forgot about us. The silence grows, stiffening as both Leanna and Amelia wait for the rest of the group to come back. As I'm wondering if I should say something, Leanna addresses Amy.
There's something that I've been wondering since Hearthpoint, but I haven't had a chance to ask.
Amy shifts her attention to Leanna.
Your mother mentioned that it's taken you a while to get a field study approved.
Yes, that is correct. I understand that such things take time as professors want to ensure the study is a proper fit for the student, but I will admit that I am beginning to become impatient.
She sighs.
Was the process for your field study equally taxing?
Leanna shakes her head.
No, I actually got the first one I applied for.
Amy blinks and her eyes grow wide.
You were accepted upon your first application?
Yeah,
She stares at Leanna.
maybe the process is different for mage knights and mage casters.
Amy continues to stare. Leanna looks at me and shrugs.
Amy?
I do not understand. I have completed all the prerequisites necessary to apply for a field study. I have even attended supplementary training to increase my potential for the selection. For all intents and purposes, I should be the most ideal candidate for the mandatory field study.
Is it just your professor's recommendation that you need?
Correct, but I have been repeatedly told that the field study is not a good fit for me.
Leanna rests her head in her hands as she thinks.
Do you think it has something to do with your age?
Amy frowns.
My age should not be an eligibility factor. I have proven myself to be capable enough to study as a mage caster.
This is pretty strange. And they haven't given you a specific reason why you keep getting declined?
Amelia shakes her head.
I am quite perplexed by the situation, especially now that I understand my difficulties are not standard.
I can feel the frustration behind her words. It sounds like the academy has it out for her, and I think she's only just started to realize that she's being treated differently. A, you should talk to your professors. B, I think it's an age issue. Or C, that sucks. We got 1A. We got 2 A's. If it really shouldn't be this hard to get into a program, you should give them a serious discussion with your professors when you return. Give them a chance to communicate their concerns and explain why they haven't approved you. Leanna nods.
I'm sure they have their reasons, and it would help you to know why.
Amy looks pensive as the conversation dies down. Zach and Kara soon return with bowls of food. When they click to eat, as we push our empty bowls away, Kara drops the key into Leanna's hand.
Okay, so here's a key to our room. You can go upstairs and lay low for the rest of the night. I'll go check the shops and grab an outfit for you.
She winks at Leanna.
Don't worry, it'll still be cute.
Zach silently hands me a key for our room. What about the storm?
Oh, I'll be okay. Zach will come with me.
Zach crosses his arms.
I didn't agree to this.
Kara feigns hurt.
You mean to say that you would let a young woman venture outside into the storm, in the middle of the night, in a dangerous city all on her own?
Zach's eyebrow twitches, but he tries to remain steadfast.
Guilt tripping me won't work.
Who knows what sort of ruffians are walking the streets this late? If they were to get the jump on me, then...
Okay, fine. I'll go with you. Jeez.
He pushes himself to his feet. Kara grins widely.
I knew you'd come around.
I'm only doing this so you can't blame anything on me later.
Kara smiles and drags Zach with her as they head towards the door.
We'll be back soon.
We watch them exit in silence.
Well, I'm gonna call it a night.
As will I.
It is getting pretty late, and the thought of a real bed is very tempting after having to camp out so many nights. I think I'll turn in too. Together we head upstairs, then split into our separate rooms. I relax in my bed for a while, enjoying the peacefulness of the night as I wait to fall asleep. The Pongo mysteriously emerges from somewhere and hops onto my bed. He bounces over and leans against me before finding a comfortable spot on my bed to sleep. I'm not sure how much time passes, but I eventually hear Zach return to the room and go to bed. I fall asleep not too long after. Muffled steps in the hallway pull me awake. Blinking my eyes, I look around. The sun struggles to shine through the overcast sky, making it hard to determine what time is it. Judging by the noise outside, I'm guessing it's well into the late morning or early afternoon. Zach's bed is empty while the Pongo snores softly by my feet. He wakes up as I carefully crawl out of bed, and after blinking, blearily-eyed, grins widely at me.
Hi!
Good morning! Or, I guess good afternoon. Yawning widely, I push myself completely out of bed and get ready for the day. For once, we don't have an agenda we need to follow while in this town. I wonder what the others are up to and what the city has to offer. Ready to go downstairs? The Pongo shies away and buries himself in my blankets.
Boy!
Huh? That's a weird reaction. You don't want to go exploring today?
Boy!
The Pongo shakes his head. Check on him or whatever. I peel back the blankets until he pokes his head free. You okay, buddy?
Boy!
He grins at me and looks a little bit more than his cheerful self. Okay, good. Well, I'm going to go downstairs. You sure you don't want to come? He looks uneasy again and submerges back into the blankets.
Boy!
I guess he just doesn't like it here. Leaving the Pongo alone, I exit my room and head for the stairs. Before I reach them, I hear a strange noise coming from above. Is there an attic in this place? Investigate? Or, nope, I've seen the horror films. I tiptoe where the noise comes from and find a pull-down staircase. Already lowered, I slowly begin to climb up. As I get closer, I recognize the noise of a series of hushed poise. The poise creates as I poke my head into the attic. Sitting in front of a card table is a large Pongo, the pudgiest Pongo I've encountered yet, wearing a three-piece suit and sporting a pencil mustache. A cigar hangs from his mouth. Two Pongo thugs sit on other sides of the table. They all freeze and stare at me. Too shocked to react, I stare back at them. After what feels like an eternity, the pudgy Pongo lowers his cigar. I better get out of here before he makes me a poifer. I can't refuse. Silently, I lower myself out of the room and quickly head down the stairs. I think I know why my Pongo didn't want to leave the room today. I think it's best to pretend that didn't happen. Shaking my head, I go downstairs to the lobby. The lobby is as busy as it was the night before, with the same number of people filling the tables. I spot Zach, especially where I expected him to be, right in front of the bounty boards. Kara nurses a drink alone at one of the tables, but I don't see Leanna or Amy anywhere. I bet Leanna's in her room. Find Amelia? Talk to Zach? Talk to Kara? I'm good for now. Leanna seemed pretty nervous last night. I wonder if she's still in her room. Making my way back upstairs, I knock on her door. After a moment, her voice calls out.
Who is it?
It's me.
Oh, hey.
There's a silence as I wait for her to open the door, but she doesn't. Is everything okay?
Yep. Everything's fine.
Okay. She sounds really distracted.
Sorry, I'm a little busy right now. Amy and I are kind of in the middle of something. Do you think you can come back later?
Ah, so that's where Amelia is too. Sure, sorry to disturb you. She doesn't answer. That was kind of weird. I hope she wasn't annoyed with me. I better leave her alone for now and check in later if I have time. Talk to Zach or talk to Kara? B. I plop down at the table across from Kara. She raises an eyebrow as I sit. Hey, Kara.
Hey.
She looks amused as she takes a sip of her drink. Got any exciting plans today? She shrugs. Yeah, same here. There's gotta be something more exciting to do. What do you think? A sly smile spread across her face. She throws back her drink and slams the empty mug on the table.
I think I know exactly what we should do.
I'm not sure I trust that look. What does she have planned? What do you have in mind?
We're going to go gambling.
A, no thanks. B, maybe we could do something more alone. Or C, I'm feeling lucky today. I've been lucky so far, and I don't think the luck's gonna run down anytime soon. I'm in. Kara nods approvingly.
I had a feeling you'd like my suggestion. Let's go then.
Following Kara out of the inn, the streets are deserted as clouds roil overhead. I glance cautiously at the sky, but Kara remains unconcerned as she surveys the shops along the streets. Finally, she stops in front of a gaudy building. Bright crystals illuminate the sign as they flash distractedly on and off. This place sticks out like a sore thumb. Kara grins as she pushes the door open. It's the mayor's house! I follow her in and blink as my eyes adjust to the dim room. Even if I hadn't known where we were going, I would have instantly recognized this place as a casino. Half the room are lined with flashy slot machines powered by mini crystals, while the other half is filled with tables. Both players and onlookers crowd around the tables. In fact, the casino was packed with people. Clearly the storm is not enough to keep these people from their games.
So, see anything you like?
She gestures at the tables. You pick. She weaves among the table, taking cursory glances at each game before deciding.
Have you played Shadow Knaves?
How do you play?
The goal is to reach a numerical value of 21 with the cards you're dealt.
So blackjack.
You'll start with 2 cards, and you could choose to add cards or stand depending on what you have.
That's blackjack. Or should we play dumb and say I'm not familiar with that game? I know this game. We have a version of it back home.
Perfect! Then you'll be a pro. Ready to play?
I'm ready to win. Not yet? Or let's play already. In response, I sit down at the table and place my bet. Kara grins and does the same. After the remaining seats at the table are filled, the leader begins first round. He slides 2 cards face up. Although the numbers look the same, the suits of these cards are unfamiliar. I have what looks like a 7 of crystals and 9 of swirly dots. Looking around my table, the competitors have a total of 18, 13, 7, and 20. Hang on. What is it? It was a 7 and a 9, so we had 16. So, hit me! My cards only add up to 16. No way I will win with that hand. Hit me! So we got 21! The dealer flips over another card to reveal a 5. Nice! Dealer busts and I win this round. Kara somehow is a blackjack master and pretty much kills it every round. Some of the scowls of the other patrons deepen, and I'm glad I'm not part of the game. I do not look happy. They do not look happy losing all that money. I browse a few of the other tables and recognize the Terra's version of craps and roulettes. It's funny how they have fairly similar games, although I suppose not too unexpected considering we're fairly similar worlds. Gambling is gambling is gambling. I return to the blackjack table just in time to see Kara abruptly stand.
Time to go.
But what about trying? Kara has a grin plastered on her face as she shakes her head.
Maybe next time, but I think we've had enough gambling for one day. It's time to cash out.
Not even one more game?
Really, it's about time we get going. Trust me.
She doesn't seem like she'll let up. I shrug and follow her. After cashing out, Kara hastens out of the casino. Was she card something? Was she card fixing or something like that? I jog to catch up to her. Something weird is going on. So what was that all about? Why were you in such a hurry to leave? She smiles innocently.
It was just time for us to go.
You were totally up to something shady, weren't you?
I don't know what you mean.
Sure, I bet you were counting cards. Kara blinks.
Oh, you noticed?
Wait, what?
What?
That's cheating or that's being resourceful? Call her out on it? Or compliment her? That's really impressive. You're using your skill set to up the odds in your favor. Kara seemed pleased.
Thank you. I'm happy you understand.
I give credit is due. Besides, it's not like giant businesses will miss the money anyways.
It's true. There are a few people I could think of who could put that money to better use.
So what should we do now? Mischievous grin spreads across her face.
Let's go to another casino.
I laugh. This can only be trouble. I follow her to another casino where we go through the same routine. After winning big again, we part ways and I head back to the inn. Should we talk to Loner Boy or I'm sorry, not Loner Boy, Emo Goth Kid, or I'm good for now. Mech Goth Kid. Emo, A. I approach Zach at the boards. Hey! He glances at me, then nods in acknowledgement. See anything good?
Yes, actually.
I look at the boards and let out a breath of surprise. Whereas most of the boards at the end have a few flyers pinned at a time, this board is covered in wanted posters. Whoa, that's a lot of bounties. Zach grins.
Check out the payout on these things.
He points to a poster of a scarred man with a grizzled face and deep frown. Underneath his mugshot lists a number with more zeros than what has ever existed in my bank account. Damn. And Zach nods. I can't help myself as I continue to scan the board, taking note as the offered bounties. Zach's grin as he throws my words back at me.
See anything good?
I'll stick to my day job, point to a hot wanted woman's body, or all the money. What could she have done that's so bad? Be too sexy? Zach glances at the poster.
Rumor has it she found out her husband cheated on her, so she grabbed the kitchen knife and cut off his.
Okay, never mind. All the mercenaries should just come to Wolf's Den and check out the bounty board here.
A lot of them do.
Really?
Why do you think this inn is so full?
I look around at the inn again. That would explain why so many patrons are just people drinking alone. One such man pushes himself unsteadily to his feet and sways over to the board. He leans in until his nose is nearly touching one of the posters, then nods in satisfactory. As he's about to stumble away, he pauses when he sees Zach. He stares at him for an uncomfortably long time.
Hey, don't I know you?
Zach barely bats an eye.
No.
The drunk is undeterred and comes closer, peers at Zach again, trying to get his eyes to focus. Zach steps back as the man nears. Suddenly, the man straightens up excitedly.
No way. You're the Death Slinger.
Death Slinger? At the mention of the name, the inn falls silent. Then tendrils of whispers begin to snake around us.
You're mistaken.
Isn't that what Zach called himself in Hearthpoint? Zach's expression is stoner than usual, but the drunk is unfazed.
I never thought I'd see you here. But it makes sense. Everybody makes it to Wolf's Den sooner or later.
You have the wrong guy.
The drunk squints and shakes his head.
It must be you. The trench coat, scar over one eye.
The whispers increase into hurried murmurs as all eyes fall on us. The drunk thinks for a second.
But do you have purple dischargers too?
He reaches towards Zach, holsters his dischargers, but Zach smoothly steps away.
If I were the Death Slinger, would you really want to piss me off?
Zach's icy warning causes the inn to fall silent again. The drunk sways precariously as the muddled gears in his head turns. Then understanding finally dawns.
Oh, right. I'll leave you alone. Sorry.
As the man stumbles back to his table, Zach sits down at the empty table at the corner. I silently follow, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze. When I sit down, Zach glares at the people around us, which causes them to quickly turn back to their tables and resume whatever they were doing. Many of them seemed suddenly very interested in their drinks. Zach doesn't seem inclined to talk, but the silence is stiffening. That was weird, right? Or are you the Death Slinger? Bay. So, are you the Death Slinger? Zach just fixes me an unamused look. I guess humor was not the right way to break the ice. The innkeeper walks over and places 2 drinks at the table. Zach looks at him and quickly speaks.
On the house, we don't want any trouble here.
Zach nods and takes a sip from one of the drinks.
Thanks.
A look of relief washes over the innkeeper's face as he walks away. Gradually, life returns to the inn as people lose interest in us. So, who exactly is the Deathslinger?
He's a mercenary.
Most mercenaries don't silence an entire inn at the mention of their name.
You're right.
He takes another drink. I wait for him to continue, but he doesn't. I don't think I'll be getting any more out of him now. Since things have begun to feel more normal, I relax a bit and take a sip out of my drink. Zach and I quickly finish the rest of our drinks. Although his stony frown has lessened, I think it'd be best to give him some space. I say my goodbyes and leave the table. I decide to spend the rest of my time alone. I relax at one of the tables by myself, observing the people and enjoying my free time. It's not too often that I can have some alone time, and with the storm outside, I'm entitled to feel a little lazy. The rest of the afternoon passes by uneventfully. With the dark clouds outside, it's hard to judge the time of day, but the skies seem to be darkening. I wonder if Leanna's done with whatever she was doing earlier. Haven't seen her leave her room all day. I decide to see if she's free. As I approach her room, I knock on her door. Leanna? There was a pause, then a scuffling sound.
Yes?
You okay in there?
Yep. Fine.
Have you had a chance to look around yet? Maybe we could check out the shops.
Well, it's getting kind of late, isn't it? Might be better to stay inside.
Sure, do you want to come down the stairs and get something to eat? There was a pause again.
You know, I'm not very hungry. I think I'll stay here for now. Thanks.
I narrow my eyes. Is it just me, or is Leanna acting a little weird? Are you sure everything was okay in there? Leanna opens out a door to poke her head out. Her smile's a little too bright.
Yep, just peachy. Sorry. I'm just feeling a little tired. Nothing to worry about.
She's about to close the door, but I push it open as my scarf is caught in the door. But I push to keep it open as my scarf is caught in the doorway. Wait! I push on the door to yank my scarf out. The door swings wide open, revealing Leanna's new outfit! She throws her arms out around herself to cover up.
Don't look!
My jaw drops as I've taken all of her outfit. What little there is of it. So, should we do A, close my eyes? B, can you wear this forever? Or C, interesting choice? Personally, I'd like B. But that's just me. Let's see what you guys have to say. We got 2 B's. We got 3 B's. I never knew this was something that I wanted in my life until now.
What?
She continues to cover herself up, looking even more self-conscious. You should wear this all the time. It's a great look on you. Leanna blushes but shakes her head.
I can't go out in public like this.
Why not? Kara does. My eyes linger on Leanna's chest. In fact, you could give her a run for her money. Leanna narrows her eyes and covers her chest.
That's exactly why.
Is this why you've been hiding in your room?
I can't go anywhere dressed like this. It's best if I just stay here until the storm is past.
It's really not that bad. Leanna just gives me a look. If you don't like it, we can go to the shops and get you something else.
Okay, let me change and then we can go.
I thought you couldn't wear your regular armor. Leanna blinks.
I can't go out dressed like this though.
Your armor will draw more attention. At least this outfit helps you blend in. She looks uncomfortable. Honestly, it isn't that bad. Besides, we don't know how long the storm is going to last. What if you spend days cooped up in that room? Leanna frowns when she thinks about it, then sighs.
I suppose you're right. All right, we can go, but let's make it quick.
Gathering her courage, Leanna leaves the room and the two of us head downstairs. Nobody pays us any extra attention as we exit the inn. I squint up at the thick clouds. There is light rain. We better hurry if we don't want to get caught in a downpour. We make our way down to the alleyway. Leanna still gets attention, although not the same before. She seems annoyed by the sharp whistling from laying men. I wonder if I should step in.
Hey there, baby.
What did you call me?
Leanna grabs the man by the collar and slams him against the wall.
What the hell?
Go on. Call me baby again. I dare you.
Leanna's grip on the man's collar tightens as he pins securely against the wall. She must be using her wind magic to keep a man twice her size immobilized with barely a struggle. Leanna continues to watch him with the challenging eyes, daring him to catcall her again. The man stays silent as he tries to break free. Leanna finally lets go and tosses him to the side. He falls to the ground with a loud thud.
That's what I thought.
The man picks himself up and scrambles away.
You crazy bitch!
Yeah, and don't you forget it.
A crowd of shocked onlookers stare at Leanna.
What are you looking at?
They quickly look away and resume walking. Satisfied, Leanna looks at me with a smile.
Shall we continue?
Damn lady, you scary? Or let's go. But you want to compliment her, don't you? So, damn lady, you scary, right? That's the kind of, wouldn't that, like, keep her courage up? So you want to do A, right? But if we go with B, we're going to go with let's go. How is that a compliment? Because she just basically kicked this guy's ass, and she's nervous about everything. So you wouldn't saying, damn lady, you scary, like, bring up her confidence level? Remind me to never get up on your bad side. Leanna smirks. See? She liked it! We continue down the street and reach the shops. Yeah, if someone were to, if I were to beat someone's ass and then someone said like that to me, you know, yeah, I would kind of, yeah, I would like that. And by the way, I'm not a lady by far. I'm just a girl. Because lady means you're all prim and proper. Fuck proper. Fuck all that shit. I'm just a person with a big gun. We continue down the street and reach the shops. Even though it's well into the evening, all of the storefronts are still open. I guess this is one of those cities that never sleeps. Leanna and I first enter the first clothing shop we find. She browses the rack, but becomes more aghast with every outfit she picks up. She holds up a piece of fabric so short, I can't figure if it's supposed to be a top or a skirt.
I don't think we'll find anything here. Let's go somewhere else.
Yes, a big gun. I got a few of them. Not that kind of gun! Although I do have those kinds of guns. But I'm not talking about that! I follow Leanna out of the store and into the next one. As she browses the selection, she seems even more disappointed as each outfit is skimpier than the next. After checking out a couple more shops with no luck, we enter the last shop on the street. Leanna checks out the racks again, then tracks down the shopkeeper.
Excuse me. Do you have any armor?
Absolutely.
He rummages through the clothing before pulling out what is essentially just a metal bra and thong. Leanna can't hide her horror as the shopkeeper smiles triumphantly.
Here you go.
How is that armor?
What do you mean? It's metal. That means it can protect you.
But what about the rest of me?
He's about to retort, but is left speechless as her words sink in.
Huh. You know, I'd never even thought about that before.
Do you have anything with a little more coverage?
The shopkeeper returns to the rack and picks out another metal bra and underwear.
How about this?
How is that better?
Wow!
Ugh, I'm so done with this place.
Realizing that this is a fruitless search, Leanna fumes out of the shop and I follow close behind. She looks down at her outfit and sighs.
It's hard to believe, but I think Kara picked out the most modest outfit available in this place.
Looks like it.
I guess she knows me a little better than I thought.
As we pass a darkened storefront on our way back to the inn, two men melt from the shadows and approach us.
Excuse me, are those manipulators on your wrist?
Leanna and I glance at each other, then back at the men.
Why do you ask?
The second man speaks.
We have an offer which may be interesting to you.
Exactly. As magic users, power in your craft is essential. Luckily for you, we happen to know a secret technique to amplify your casting usage to your fullest potential, no matter the skill level.
What's the technique? The first man hands me a card. The den at Wolfston is written in curly letters.
Meet us at that location tomorrow morning, and all will be revealed.
Leanna narrows her eyes.
How do we know this is legitimate?
The second man smiles.
Your skepticism is understandable, but we've gone through this exact training and can personally guarantee results.
You're mages? Where are your manipulators?
I glance at their empty wrists. Leanna brings up a good point.
Right here.
He lifts his hand and points to the crystal inlaid ring on his finger. Leanna's mouth drops open in surprise, but she quickly composes herself.
Your manipulator is a ring?
The man flashes the same mysterious grin.
Be there tomorrow morning and all will be revealed.
They hand Leanna a card too, then disappear back into the alley. Leanna watches them retreat, a stern look on her face. You've got solicitors in this world too? It really isn't possible to escape them. She barely seems to register what I'm saying. Leanna? She blinks.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty weird, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
I begin to throw away the card as Leanna stops me.
Wait! We need that!
We do?
How else will we find them tomorrow morning?
Wait, we're going to meet those guys? She nods. A, is that a good idea? B, all that power? Or C, you believe that's snake oil? Don't tell me you believed all that nonsense.
Of course not, but I'm sure other people have believed it. We should check out what it is they're offering, and if it even works.
I shake my head. There's no way it would work.
I know, but we should go just in case. Besides, there's no way those rings are actual manipulators. It's impossible to condense the amount of energy needed for casting into such a tiny crystal. Something doesn't add up.
She's not gullible. It looks like she's interested in finding out to see if it's to kill the scammers. It does seem a little too good to be true. She nods and pockets the card. A crack of thunder interrupts us. We should get back.
Yeah.
We hurry back to the inn. I spot Zach and Kara at the table, and we join them. Zach smirks when he sees Leanna.
Nice outfit.
Leanna's cheeks flush.
I don't want to talk about it.
Kara grins widely.
Oh, don't be shy. You've got to own it.
Leanna blush deepens as she quickly changes the subject.
We were just out and ran into some strange men promising us unimaginable power.
She pulls out the card and places it on their table.
They said to meet them there tomorrow.
Zach and Kara study it.
I've never seen this before.
I have. They recruited me too.
Leanna blinks.
But you aren't a mage. They were looking for magic casters. Why did they recruit you?
Zach shrugs.
Something about being a valuable asset? I wasn't really listening.
We're going to meet them tomorrow morning. Leanna nods.
Same here.
What, really? Leanna looks equally surprised.
Sure.
Why? I thought you weren't listening.
I wasn't. But from what I did hear, it sounds like a scam for money. Money which should be liberated from them for the greater good.
Haha, Zach! He's gonna kick their ass and steal their wallet. Why am I not surprised?
Alright, let's meet up there tomorrow morning and go together.
Zach nods. As if on cue, Amy joins the group.
Greetings. Have we all gathered here to partake in supper?
That's a pretty good idea. I could go for some food.
I nod. Same here. We order some food and sit together to eat. As we eat, Amelia looks intently from Kara to Leanna. Leanna shifts uncomfortably.
Is there something wrong, Amy?
There seems to be an undeniable trend in the clothing both you and Kara are wearing. Perhaps I should be wearing something similar.
Kara became stern.
We need to have a talk about what is and isn't appropriate for you to wear, young lady.
The irony of that statement is not lost on me.
No, don't ruin her innocence. What a good idea. Or meh. Since everyone's like, yes, and yes, we're going to go, what a good idea. I wouldn't mind seeing her in that kind of outfit. Zach pulls me aside and points to a chair.
Why don't you take a seat over here?
Slowly I sit down. Zach crosses his arms and glowers at me.
What are your intentions?
What?
Do you even know how old she is?
Wait a minute, I didn't do anything!
You sure about that? I have the transcripts right here.
He points to his head. Once the team has calmed down and talked Amy out of purchasing on an outfit, we finish the rest of our meals. Leanna reminds Zach and me to meet downstairs in the morning, and then we all retire to bed. After getting changed, I fall into bed and drift to sleep. And that is a perfect time to cut the stream. We are on the next day, but before we start the next day, we'll start the next day tomorrow. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Tell your friends on your multiple Discord channels to come join in the fun. I mean, we hit our highest today. We hit 5 concurrent viewers. That's right, 5 concurrent viewers. Woo! So, we'll start tomorrow around the same time, around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another 2 hours of awesome Crystalline. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. Until then, enjoy your lives. Bye, everyone.